Greetings and welcome to the RC Wallet Vacuum channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a detour off the usual RC content, and we're going to be diving into some construction equipment or destruction equipment depending on how you use it. It is going to still be somewhat RC related because I did not get the equipment specifically for track work, but it will be getting used for a later this year or during the year for a major track expansion and rework. Now the reason for the rework track is I have some fifth scale big bore builds coming up later this year that are going to be all tube chassis. We're making out some 4130 chromoly tubing, and I need a good gnarly motocross track to test out the design and deal with all the flaws and initial flaws and design weaknesses. Of course, the whole goal is to have a fifth scale big bore you can take to a run on a motocross track and beat the living shit out of it and expect it to survive. I'll deal with that more when the time comes, but instead of using the bottom chassis plates that the Losi 5Ts use, it'll be all tube, and then the roll cage will be integrated into it. But for today, we're going to dive into a different subject, and when I was looking for one of these machines, I found the YouTube videos from other content providers with doing reviews on different models, and it'd be very helpful. So I wanted to do one on this particular model that I got, and it's kind of a payback to the YouTuberverse karma thing, and hopefully it'll be a benefit for somebody else. So let's take a look at it. So as you can see, this is a New Holland C330 compact track loader. It's part of their vertical lift series. You can tell the vertical lift series because it's got the radiused arms, where the radial lift has the straight arms. The vertical lift is meant to put the bucket stays in a vertical line as it goes through the lifting motion, where the radial lift kind of arcs back. The nice thing about these vertical lift ones is if you're loading dump trucks or something like that, it allows you to dump into the center and you don't have to have your tracks right up underneath the dump truck. It actually proved pretty useful. The other day I had to unload like 1,500 pounds off the back of a tractor trailer. It was kind of an odd-shaped pallet, and the driver couldn't get it to the very back of the truck, but this thing was able to come in there and grab it without a problem. I got the Titan manufacturing forks on it. They're 4,000-pound rated forks and 48-inch long. I might do a review on those later on. They actually worked really well in this situation. So I looked at a lot of different manufacturers and models. Actually, the only one I really didn't look at is John Deere, and only because the management of John Deere seems like such douchebags nowadays. I just didn't want to deal with a company like that. So that's a good message for corporate types out there, that reputations do get around. And one variety, I like the Bobcats, and the other variety I really liked was the ASVs. But the bottom line for me I went with the New Holland. I liked a lot of the specs of the thing, but the bottom line was I already had a New Holland tractor and had really good luck with that. It's going to be 26 years old this June, and it's been flawless. And I also have a good relationship with the local dealer, so I decided this would be the way to go. So also a good message for dealers and corporate types out there, that those relationships do matter a lot. So as far as some of the specs on this thing that I kind of liked, the New Holland do run a little bit narrower than other models, but still have a wide cab on them. I think this one here is like around 59.5, I believe, or I think it's 65.9 inches wide the tracks. So this particular model is rated, I believe, at 67 horsepower. It's got a Perkins 404F turbo 4-cylinder, and it's got 153 foot-pounds of torque. It's a non-DEF, and it doesn't require that diesel exhaust fluid. It uses a EGR circulation system with a diesel particulate filter, and I really didn't want to have the DEF fluid. I mean, it's basically urea and water, which is essentially piss, and who wants to drive around in a vehicle with a bucket full of piss in it? I'm sure somebody does, I don't. So that's the reason one of the reasons I went with this is no DEF. One thing I didn't like about this particular model is for some reason, they don't offer a high flow auxiliary hydraulics. This one's rated at 24 gallons per minute. And initially I wanted to get some forestry equipment that would be high flow, but then I also noticed that same forestry equipment, like the mulchers, you can get them in standard flow. And I also looked at the price of some of those things, and they're outrageously expensive, so it doesn't matter. It's all said and done anyhow. There will be an upcoming video where I'm going to be testing a Terminator XP from Rupp Manufacturing this, which is kind of a cross, it's kind of a hybrid between a brush cutter and a mulcher. It gives you the best of both worlds. I don't like the mulchers because, in my situation, because you can't really mow with them. So they rate this at 8,380 pounds operational weight with fluids, but without an attachment on it. And they rated, I think the 30 in the name, the last two digits there, I believe refer to the 3,000 lift capacity at 50% tip potential. They do rate it at a breakout lift at 3,450 pounds and a breakout on a curl at 7,300 pounds, I believe. Track contact is rated at 56 inches on each side, gives around 5.9 square inches of, or 5.9 pounds per square inch of compression force on the ground. Now, as I was researching these things, one of the things that really surprised me, and it actually is kind of a cool thing, I was kind of taken back at first, but track tension, they use grease on all these manufacturers use basically a grease cylinder on the tracks to keep tension on. Just as a track starts to stretch a little bit and wear in, you just pump some grease into it and put tension on it. And if you want to relax it, you just open the valve and let the grease squirt out. Very simplistic operation, but if it works. And then the ground clearance on the undercarriage is rated 8.1 inch, and it is a non-suspension unit. They do make suspension versions. It seems like just one more set of things to go wrong with it, so I'm stuck with this rigid frame setup. It's probably a little more rougher to run, but I really don't care. So the next thing to take a look at is the accessibility of the engine and all the filters and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at that. So starting here in the very back left-hand corner, this plate back here, unbolt that, and the battery's in there, and the oil filter and the oil drain are in there. Now access is all through the back. There is no side access. I know some models you can go through the side. These are all, this is rear access only. One of the security features is there is ability to put a padlock on that. Now, as long as your thief ain't got a battery operated cutoff saw, you're good to go. But yeah, you lift that to access the interior. Got your hydraulic fan there, or hydraulic radiator, I should say, your main radiator. Air filters here. Hydraulic filter. Engine oils goes down here. Hydraulic oil in here. Diesel fuel's over here. Let me reorient the camera. Hanging off the door here is a water separator for the fuel, and then there's a separate water filter, fuel filter back for particulate matter back in here. There's a hydraulic sight gauge. Over here is on a coolant tank. There's a sight gauge for the coolant, and then there is a master disconnect. So if you leave it someplace, you hit that disconnect, and then lock the back. It keeps it from someone being able to start it. As far as other security measures go, the door's lockable. Well, how secure it is, I don't know. But probably the ultimate security is the fact that you can set passcodes on the display. And without the passcode, you're going to have a tough time getting it started. I didn't know some manufacturers out there did have a reversible fan on the hydraulic radiator. This I don't believe does. I think their 362 model does, but that's it shouldn't really be that big of a deal. It's blown out with a compressor from time to time. Well, up here on front, obviously, is the auxiliary hydraulics. The middle one's the case drain. This is some sort of electrical connector. I haven't really looked into what that's for. I'm not sure if that's like just straight voltages or there's some sort of proportional voltage coming out of there or what, but looking at that in the future. It's got 4 work lights up on the top there. Then there's some work lights in the back. Oh, also in the back, let me take a look at this. But these are the 2 work lights in back. Obviously turn signals. I don't plan on running down the road, and then this is the backup camera. And that's the only thing that's been giving me any trouble. It's been sporadic. It'll work fine for a while and then it goes out. So I got the dealer, they're supposed to be coming out in a week or so to swap that over. Then over here, you got the highly emasculated sounding horn. And one thing I did really liked about the New Holland, at least this model, was the tracks on there. This thing's gonna be running in dirt all the time, and I needed a decent kind of bulldozer style grouser bars on it, and these have pretty aggressive grouser bars. Some of the models I looked at, especially the Bobcats, they seem to be really oriented more for pavement and stuff like that, or gravel, and I needed a good aggressive grouser bar, so that's why I went with this. Now, I had considered one of the Kubotas. I kind of like the Kubotas, and one of the things I liked about the Kubotas is the door goes straight up in. This is a swing out door, and I kind of see that as somewhat of a handicap, somewhat of an impedance when I'm trying to do things, but let's have to deal with it. So the next step is take a look inside the cab. So one thing I definitely like about this is the cab. It does have the seat belt and the lap bar type thing, but you don't really need the seat belt on it for it to function, but you do need the lap bar now. So the lap bar is easy to get in and out of. They do pressurize this cab. I think most manufacturers do, and back there in the very back is where the cabin filter is. This does have an air ride seat. Its position 4 and aft can be adjusted, and then there's also air pressure adjustability on there, and it's also a heated seat. That little red knob over there is the emergency release. I'll get the focus. As you can see, there's quite a few vents. There's some on that side, some over in here, and for the full defrosters. It's a heated and air-conditioned cab. This system over here is for propping up the cab for service work. The little hose is for fluid fills. There is a foot throttle down there. I haven't been able to get myself to pull out that piece of white paper yet, but there is a foot throttle underneath there. Obviously a wiper blade over here on the door. And then that red handle thing there is the lock for the boom. Put that all the way up and then put that pins it out to keep it from dropping down on you. And then way in the back corner there is the fill cap for the windshield washer fluid. So there's a quick overview of some of the features and specs on this New Holland C330 Track Loader. So for part 2, I'm going to be putting on the Terminator XP heavy duty brush cutter from Rut Manufacturing. Go out and do some testing and overview and review of that. And at the same time, I'll be continuing to do some testing and reviewing on the loader itself, go over some of the electro-hydraulic settings, and go through the auxiliary hydraulic settings and some of that function. But if I missed any specs or any features or you're interested in this particular machine, feel free to leave a question in the comment sections. And even though I'm new to this machine, but I'll do my best to try to answer it for you. So in the meantime, thanks for watching.